The Subaru Ascent looks like the perfect family SUV on paper, but there are 6 reasons why you should not buy one right now. If you're planning to spend over $42,000 on a 3-row SUV for your family, the issues you're about to see could point you toward a far better decision. Let's start the countdown. Number 6. Tight third row. A 3-row SUV only works if all 3 rows are actually usable. That's the core promise of the segment. You're paying for that extra row, and you're expecting it to deliver. The Subaru Ascent is seating up to 8 passengers, which sounds like a strong offering on paper. Getting to the back of this vehicle, however, is going to tell a very different story. Think about the moment that third row actually matters. It's a 5-hour drive to visit family. 2 adults have been assigned the back seats. 90 minutes in, the 31.7 inches of legroom that looked acceptable on a spec sheet is starting to feel like a punishment. That's the Ascent's third row in real-world use. Functional enough for small children, but genuinely uncomfortable for anyone bigger. The Toyota Grand Highlander is offering 33.5 inches of third-row space. The Volkswagen Atlas and Chevrolet Traverse are doing better still. Cargo space behind that third row is sitting at just 17.8 cubic feet. It's workable for a grocery run, but not for any serious road trip packing. Here's the broader problem. When you're spending over $42,000 on a family SUV, every row needs to earn its place. The Ascent's third row is technically present, but practically speaking, it's reserved for small kids and pets. The tight quarters back there are frustrating enough on their own, but the transmission powering this vehicle is making the drive itself feel more labored than it should, and that's where we're headed next. Number 5. CVT transmission. The powertrain under the Ascent's hood is genuinely capable. A 260 horsepower turbocharged 2.4-liter flat-4 producing 277 pound-feet of torque from just 2,000 revolutions per minute. Those numbers suggest strong, responsive performance, but there's a transmission standing between that engine and the road, and it's getting in the way. The CVT is reliable, and it is doing a decent job maintaining fuel efficiency, but under hard acceleration, something frustrating is happening. Engine revs are climbing to a high plateau and staying there. A sensation that feels less like confident power delivery and more like the engine is being actively held back. The noise that accompanies it is significant and intrusive. A conventional automatic gearbox would almost certainly be unlocking more from this setup. The 0 to 60 time is coming in at 6.8 seconds, slightly below segment average. The Mazda CX-90 is clearing that same benchmark in 6.3 seconds. Low-speed throttle response is another recurring complaint, with abrupt, difficult to modulate power delivery in parking lots and slow urban traffic. The CVT's performance issues are a real problem, but the engine noise it's generating isn't staying under the hood. It's coming straight into the cabin, and that leads us directly to the next issue. Number 4. Cabin insulation. Road trips are going to reveal one of the Ascent's most persistent weaknesses. Cabin noise management is simply not at the level this segment demands, and the problem is arriving from multiple directions at once. Anyone who has driven 3 or 4 hours in a noisy vehicle knows the feeling. It's not dramatic. There's no single sound that's unbearable. It's the slow accumulation of wind, tire roar, and engine noise that gradually drains the energy from everyone inside. That's precisely what the Ascent is doing on long highway drives. Wind noise is pushing through the doors and pillars. Road surface texture is translating into tire roar more clearly than most rivals allow. And the CVT's tendency to hold high RPMs under load is layering engine noise on top of all of that. Rivals like the Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade have invested heavily in acoustic management. They're treating cabin quiet as a selling point, and buyers who drive both back-to-back are going to notice the difference immediately. The noisy cabin is draining enough on a long drive, but once you stop for fuel, a completely separate problem is going to start adding up, and it's one that most of the Ascent's rivals have already solved. Number 3. Still no hybrid option. The 3-row SUV segment is going through a significant shift, and fuel efficiency is sitting at the center of it. Hybrid powertrains are no longer a premium tier feature. They're becoming a baseline expectation. The Mazda CX-90 is already available as a plug-in hybrid. The Toyota Grand Highlander is offering a hybrid variant with class-leading efficiency. Hyundai's Palisade is heading in the same electrified direction. The Subaru Ascent, still gas-only with no hybrid version in sight. Combined fuel economy is sitting at 21 to 22 miles per gallon. Not terrible for an all-wheel drive SUV of this size, but nowhere near what hybrid rivals are returning. The Mazda CX-90 Hybrid is delivering 25 miles per gallon combined. The Grand Highlander Hybrid is doing even better. What makes this particularly hard to accept is the direction Subaru's own lineup is taking. The Forester Hybrid is already on sale. The Crosstrek Hybrid has been available for years. The redesigned Outback is launching with a hybrid powertrain for the first time. The Ascent is standing as the one Subaru model that electrification hasn't reached. And at a time when long-term fuel costs are factoring heavily into family vehicle decisions, buyers are going to feel that gap at every fill-up. The fuel economy is a problem you'll be living with every week, but the next issue is one the whole family is going to feel every time the road gets bumpy. Number 2, stiff ride. Family SUVs are carrying a fairly clear brief. They're hauling kids, car seats, luggage, and groceries on every conceivable road surface. Ride quality is not a bonus feature in this segment. It's a core requirement. The Ascent, wearing 20-inch wheels on most trims, is delivering a ride character that leans noticeably firmer than most buyers in this class are going to be expecting. Picture a Sunday afternoon with a full load, 2 adults in front, kids in the second row, and grandparents in the back. The road heading out of town is patchy. Every expansion joint and pothole is announcing itself through the cabin in a way that a vehicle at this price point simply shouldn't allow. That's the Ascent's real-world ride experience on anything less than smooth pavement. The suspension tuning is prioritizing body control over passenger comfort, a trade-off that might make sense in a sporty crossover, but feels out of place in a family hauler. The Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade are both delivering a noticeably more cushioned experience across the same road surfaces. For buyers spending money on the Ascent, that comparison is going to be difficult to push aside. A softer suspension calibration would make a meaningful difference to daily comfort. But even if Subaru were to address the ride, there's still one more problem waiting inside the cabin. And it's the one buyers are going to notice every single time they open the door. Number 1. Rivals look far more upscale inside. Price the Subaru Ascent and you'll find a range running from just over $42,000 to nearly $53,500. At those figures, interior quality is non-negotiable. Buyers at this price point are expecting a cabin that feels like it belongs in the segment's upper tier. The Ascent is not consistently delivering that. The cabin is durable and functional, and higher trims are bringing Napa leather seating, wood grain accents, and a heated steering wheel that do lift the presentation somewhat. But here's what buyers at this price level are actually experiencing. They're walking out of a Kia Telluride test drive, a vehicle starting at around $38,000, feeling like they just sat inside something worth considerably more money. Then they're sitting in the Ascent, and that feeling isn't there. That gap is real, and it's going to matter during every family trip. The infotainment experience is another questionable aspect of this interior. The 11.6-inch vertical touchscreen looks modern, but the interface running behind it is not matching what rivals are offering in terms of intuitiveness and response. Both the Hyundai Palisade and the Mazda CX-90 are presenting more polished, more enjoyable cabin experiences at comparable or lower price points. For a family that's going to be living inside this vehicle every single day, that gap in perceived quality is going to matter on every trip. The Subaru Ascent is a good SUV, but at a price between $42,000 and $53,500, good is not good enough. A third row that's only realistic for small children, a CVT that is holding a capable engine back, a cabin that lets in more wind and road noise than this segment accepts, no hybrid option, while rivals are already selling plug-in variants, a ride that feels too firm for a vehicle built around family comfort, and an interior that consistently loses the comparison to less expensive competitors. These are not minor quibbles. They are the reasons why the Ascent is sitting below the Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade, and Mazda CX-90 in most expert ratings. If those 6 issues don't apply to your situation, the Ascent remains a solid, dependable machine. But if even 2 or 3 of them hit close to home, the competition is worth a very serious look before signing anything. Speaking of the competition, don't think it's flawless, because those models come with serious drawbacks too. The Mazda CX-90, which you can check out in our next video, is a perfect example. It may stand out with a luxurious interior and excellent performance, but it also comes with several practical limitations that could easily break the deal for you.